Hey everybody, welcome back to I Know a Guy. I'm Anthony, and this podcast is where you find connections and they thrive. Each episode, we spotlight inspiring entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals doing amazing things. Together, we'll grow your circle, spark collaborations, and discover new opportunities. Today, we're meeting Matt Potratz, a former world-renowned snowmobile athlete whose incredible journey from a near-fatal avalanche to motivational speaker and author is nothing short of inspiring. Matt's resilience, humor, and unwavering spirit have touched countless lives, and he's working to encourage and uplift others one conversation at a time. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's
Perfect.
busy. The 2025 is off to a great
Yeah.
start, so I can't really complain.
Fantastic is a choice, right?
It absolutely
You
is.
got
I
to choose.
can, yeah. So how's 2025 treating you so far?
Good. See, I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a new change and just ready to go forward and ready to make a difference in lives and ready to inspire and encourage and uplift. And I always get excited about New Year's because it's like a restart, you know. So
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's the year's going to be good or bad, and you're going to get to decide which really.
yeah.
Uh, some good things are going to happen for sure. Some bad things are going to happen for sure. But just yeah, it's awesome. So starting off, where are you located? Where are you calling in from?
I live in a tiny town of Peck, Idaho, and it's in north central Idaho. So it's basically up where it starts to become a panhandle is about where we're at right there, just where it starts to transition to a panhandle. And so I'm in a tiny town. We're only 133 people in our town, but we have other cities located nearby with much more population. But yeah, I'm a small town guy. I live in the mountains and love it and wouldn't change it.
I think if you get any smaller than that, it's considered a village. I'm not sure
I'm pretty sure it's already a village.
on the definition, but you're using the term town pretty freely there.
They call it City of Peck, and I always laugh at the word city.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. So are you a lifer? You been there forever or you're newer to the area?
No, actually, I grew up in another small town, just about, I guess, about 50 miles east, kind of, I guess, northeast of here. And it was a mountain town, even further up in the mountains. I'm in the valley now, the valley of the mountains. But I was in the mountains when I grew up, and it was a town of 600 people then. It's actually it was 744 then when I was a kid, and growing up in just small town atmosphere, small town environment. But we had a lot of snow there. There'd be 3 to 4 feet on the level in town, pretty much the whole winter would just remain there. And then we went above there to the mountains of 15 to 20 feet of snow. So
Hmm,
so I grew up around the snow, fell in love with the snow. So
awesome. Well, what do you do for fun there? If somebody's coming to visit, right? Never been to Idaho, never been to that small village you live in. What are you doing for fun? Where are you taking them? What are you having them eat?
well, I'm a mile and a half away from the Clearwater River, which goes through the town of Orofino, which we consider to be a lot of people consider it to be the steelhead capital of the world. So the steelhead runs up and salmon runs up here, amazing. So the fishing is incredible. So a lot of people come to fish, which is awesome. And then of course snowmobile. People come here to snowmobile because the mountains are incredible and the mountains are beautiful. And so we have the nearby town where I grew up there has 300 miles of groomed trails to run around the mountains on. And then man, there's camping and fishing and hiking and just and we have a plethora of things to do. In fact, we have a lake nearby here. It's a 52-mile long reservoir that dams up the North Fork of the Clearwater River, and it's beautiful. We keep our boat up there all year and spend a lot of time in the lake. It's just I wouldn't trade this life for anything, man. It's just such a beautiful place to live.
That's awesome to hear. Never been to Idaho myself. I always get mistaken when I say, "Hey, I'm from Iowa," and they're like, "Idaho." I'm like, "Well, they're different."
Yeah,
You know?
Iowa and Idaho, yeah.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. They're short and starts with an I, but they're different. So what can you tell us about what you do?
Well, today I'm a motivational speaker and author and life coach and encourager, and I'm actually a high ticket sales coach with my wife, and I have an online business we do from home. And so we do all of our work from home. We do a lot of volunteer work in our community. We volunteer consistently with the Salvation Army near us here. We're on the advisory board there, and so we just do a lot of just good things to give back. It feels so much better to give than to get. And so in between all the speaking and writing and things like that, I I just give back to my community.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a great mentality to have because you can never really give enough. And what's weird about it, what a lot of people realize once they start is you do get back as much as you really put in. It's
Oh
kind
man.
of it's kind of wild. So, well, you mentioned what you're doing now. One second. You mentioned what you're doing now. Um, what were you doing? Kind of tell us a little bit about your story and what got you to where you are.
Well, leading up to motivational speaking, I was my real job per se, the one that paid the bills was I was 27 years old, been promoted 3 times in 2 years. I was doing really good in the business world. I was the general sales manager at Rogers Toyota, which is just down the river from where I live now. And it was a highly successful Toyota dealership selling hundreds of cars per month, and we had a big team of salespeople, and I got to run the entire sales department, so I was doing really well in that part of life. Outside of that, I'd been invited a few years prior to that to ride at a professional level and ride snowmobiles in films for the camera that makes extreme backcountry movies, showcasing all the extreme stuff like jumping off cliffs, climbing chutes, doing all the crazy technical stuff on a snowmobile. And so I didn't really plan on becoming a pro. I just kind of accidentally slid into it, got noticed, and then just took off from there. And the films kept coming in. Ended up riding in 7 different snowmobile motion pictures. I've ridden with the top 3 to 5 guys in the world. Ridden with, I mean, it's been an incredible experience. I've seen stuff that nobody's going to ever see in their lifetime as far as mountains go, and I've gotten to ride over all the Western U.S. and Canada, and so it's been an incredible experience. But as we're here to talk about today, that story changed a little bit because we were filming for a hill climb segment in McCall, Idaho, which is actually really close to. It's only 3 hours from where I live now, and we consider it like our home turf. We've ridden on some huge stuff in Canada and Wyoming, and Colorado, and stuff, and McCall's big, but not that big, but it was big enough that I was riding in McCall. We were filming for a hill climb segment. I set off an avalanche that crushed me and broke my neck and femur and ribs and collapsed lung and brain damage. And so put me through a month-long coma and completely changed my life. It was a long journey to recovery. And but I'm back. I'm on my feet today, and my left arm is still paralyzed, unfortunately. But I I still wouldn't trade it for anything because the man it's made me. Nothing else could have made me what that's made me. So
Yeah, that's a great mentality because, without something that at the moment it's zero, this is not what you want. This is the opposite of where your life's goal were. To have that mentality now where it's like, okay, this was a lesson. I learned something. I've grown. This is, like you said, brought you to be the man you
right.
are today. So that's awesome. So the man you are today, you're talking in front of groups. You're looking to, kind of share that positivity with the world and kind of, trying to inspire. How'd you go from, having the coma, paralyzed, to doing that?
You know, I mean, the journey through the hospital was long. I was in a coma for 41 days, hospitalized for 88 days, and then during that downtime, I really had a chance to examine my life and realize that that my story was already touching people as it was going, right. And then I could see that happening on a daily basis with people visiting, people writing letters, people. It was on the news, it was in the newspapers, and it was just really encouraging people. And so I thought, man, this story is going to give me something I can encourage people with, and because I'm going to win, I'm going to beat this, I'm going to stay on top of this. And I had a really good mentality in the hospital, but mainly I just surrounded myself with the right people. Had people around me that just consistently just said, keep fighting, keep giving, keep pushing, don't give up, don't let up. And so I had the right people around me to keep me going because I couldn't do it on my own. And so as I began to just um, recover and realize I was going to make it and realize it was going to be a life still. I was not going to like having a paralyzed arm. I was not going to like having a bent neck and a lot of pain. I still have a lot of daily pain, but I wasn't going to like that. Right. But I was going to make the best of it. And that's what I felt like I could do. So,
Yeah, that's awesome, and that goes for everybody. No matter what you're dealing with, what you're going through, having the right people around you is massively important. Being able to have the right attitude is massively important, and it's
100%.
it's great hearing that you were able to kind of figure all that out and put that all into place to get where you are today. So
Well, even later, like, in the late at the at home recovery, getting home from the hospital, that was the part I began to realize that I could. I just felt like a deep calling to write a book. Like I was supposed to start writing my story, and so I started writing early. Like right when I got from the hospital, I started writing. I had in fact, I didn't even have a computer then. At home, I had a laptop. I had a smartphone. Is all I had. So I started writing just bits and pieces of my book in an app on my smartphone and saving all that. And every time I go through a new experience, new recovery, new surgery, because I went through some additional surgeries after I came home, and so I was writing as I was going through a lot of the struggle. And so it was pretty cool to write from those moments of pain, from those moments of frustration. And then, yeah, it really helped me. By the end of it, what I really saw was that I still had more positive than negative. I mean, I was like, even though I have a ton of negatives, you can make a long list of negatives of things that have gone wrong, right? But I really truly believe that I have still have more positive in my life than what I have negative. And so I make that list instead of making the negative list. And so that was what the book helped me see as I began to see my story unfold on paper, chapter by chapter, page by page. That I still have things to celebrate, things to be excited about, and reasons to live. Right?
So that that's amazing because a lot of us have things we want to do or even know that we're called to do and we don't because we have excuses. You had literally every reason in the book to not write the book, not, be happy, not try and, inspire others that you kind of nobody would have probably faulted you for kind of, taking a step back and kind of being harder on yourself than you were. So that's absolutely incredible. A lot of people they would learn a lot from starting where you are. No matter what's going on, you can take positive steps. You can recognize the positivity in your life, or you could dwell on the negative.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
I'm not going to say I never questioned myself because I did. Because when I started typing the book with the computer, finally, I was like, I only got one hand, right? My left hand's paralyzed, so I was typing with one hand, just pecking away, and my typing skills have improved with one hand. But I typed a 184-page book with one hand, so
Yeah.
that's that's a lot of peck. I shouldn't say I typed, I pecked it. Peck, 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 right?
Was it easier on just was it easier on the smartphone?
Actually, it was honestly probably,
Yeah.
but it was not really. I mean, back then when I first started, it was a BlackBerry, so
Mm.
there's no swipe or nothing like that. It
Yeah.
was
So you were
old school
pecking anyway,
smartphone.
just with your
If you want
thumb.
to call it a smartphone, you can, but that's old school. So.
I got you. Awesome. So what's your favorite thing about what you're doing now?
My favorite thing is honestly hearing the stories of people that were impacted by my book, by my life, by my presentations, and seeing actual life change happen. And my, I would say my favorite audience by far actually is schools. Not because I don't like adults, I love adults too, but schools, it's so powerful because they can connect with the story of an athlete, right? An extreme athlete, because extreme sports make sense to the young kids, right? And they can connect with the reality of my story, and they see my avalanche happen on the screen when I speak, and they're just, it's a dead silent crowd, completely somber. The whole auditorium is silent for 50 minutes, and you see kids passing tissue when they're crying and being either being encouraged or being they're dealing with some hurt in their life. And so that part of it is just, I can't explain. I've made some good money in my life over the years in the business world, and that is, doing what I do now doesn't even, I mean, the biggest paycheck I've ever cashed is nothing compared to the fulfillment of looking across a crowd of young people who are soaking in the message.
Yeah, I've never seen that firsthand, but I imagine
Oh,
that
dude,
it's pretty
it's like,
special.
it's really special. It's really cool.
So you've been an entrepreneur, you've had some very hard won lessons, just even outside of the accident and everything. What's some advice that you can give somebody, whether they're an entrepreneur, they've been in business for years, or they're considering taking that jump and doing something? What advice would you give somebody that they're going to face hardship along the way, for sure? What would you tell them, when they're getting started or just looking to, continue?
You know, I think I'd have to go back to the most fundamental concept in my successful recovery. People ask me all the times if you pick one thing or one concept or one idea that's been the reason for your success, and it's simple, just simply focus on things you can change, right? Focus on things you can change because I can't change the avalanche. I can't change how bad it hurt me. I can't change the crush my arm, paralyze my arm, all that kind of stuff, right? I can't change that. But what I can change is what I do with it. I can change today, not yesterday. There's a great quote that says, yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery, today is a gift, right? And so we got to focus on today and now what I can change. So I'd say that, and the same thing in the business world. Anytime you're overcoming challenges in the business or challenges on a daily basis, or you're starting a new business for the first time, we can waste a lot of time, energy, passion, emotion on things we cannot change. We do nothing about them, right? But it's really is a lot of humanity is wasting a lot of time and energy on things they cannot change. They're whining about it and crying about it and moaning about it, but it's wasting their energy because they can't change it.
Yeah. Yeah, what is right.
Yeah.
You get to decide what you do with it. So that's absolutely fantastic advice. So, when you're out networking, meeting people, who are you relating best with? Who are some power partners that, you might be able to synergize well with? Maybe they can help you get, in front of people to talk to, or what do good relationships out there look like for you?
I think I have a lot of relationships in the business world because I used to own my own Polaris and Arctic Cat dealership when I was first out of college. So I have that experience. And I was a really successful salesperson in the power sports industry. And the car biz kind of harvested me. I sold cars there, was a finance manager there, was a sales manager there, and then the general sales manager there. So I have a lot of contacts from that. So just my experience and my in not just fun and play like on a snowmobile, right? And my experience in the business world really gives me a lot of great connections. And so I guess what makes me unique is I can connect with like anybody. I really can. I can connect with any audience, any age level, any demographic. And so I really feel like that. I love that about myself. I guess you say. I'm not saying I'm prideful or proud or that I'm arrogant, right? I just know that about myself that I'm good with people and I love people of every age bracket. So
Absolutely. And you said earlier you surrounded yourself with the right people. That was a big help with, everything that you went through and everything that you do day to day. Still, I imagine it's important to have the right people around you. People that are out there that maybe are trying to get somewhere. There's the cliche phrases. Your network is your net worth. I could tell you, about how much you make a year just depending on who you're hanging around. The average five people you're around. How do you build that good circle? How do you advise people to find other people to fill that circle?
I would say that you'll know pretty quickly if you connect with somebody, right? And so don't waste too much time trying to pursue somebody and pursue somebody and pursue somebody because there's no connection there, trying to force a connection. Just keep looking until you find people you connect with. Because I like to hang around with like-minded people. That's how I roll. I mean, in fact, I would say that 100%. Do not let yourself be around negative energy. And so, if people are being negative about the economy, negative about the business world, negative about the president, negative about the value of their money, negative about this, just don't surround yourself with those people. Pursue people who look at life through a positive lens, because there's plenty of negativity out there, and it's just destroying people. So I mean, I'm also not one that thinks unrealistically positive. I'm not on Prozac, right? Don't go to the extreme, I mean, I look at life and go, hey, there is something positive hidden everywhere. So let's find those things. So surround yourself with people like that. But again, don't pursue people that you don't connect with. Don't just waste a bunch of time trying to connect with people that are not like you. Find like-minded people and connect with those people and link arms and charge forward.
Yeah, a lot of it's easy. You talk to the right person,
Yeah.
and if you spend any time networking or just talking to people in general, some are like, okay, this was kind of a hard one to get through, but then other people you just kind of click. And those are the people. As long as,
And
like you
I
said,
wouldn't necessarily say it's even easy, but it's simple, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
very simple.
yeah,
It's
simple,
not
not
always
easy.
easy, but it's simple. Just keep it
Absolutely.
simple.
Absolutely. So, like you said, you're not on Prozac, you're not overly optimistic, but what's the secret to staying motivated after like a life-changing trauma?
You know, um, I think it has to go back to focus on things you can change. Because if I were to ever cry about my paralyzed arm and I have phantom nerve pain, I have neck pain, I could cry about all those things that I cannot change, right? And I can't change how bad it changed my life. I can't change any of that stuff. So it has to go back to that I have to, the only way I can go through something that bad and rebound and keep going as I focus on things I can change, which is today, right? I can't change yesterday. It's gone. In fact, one of the things I wrote in my book is that yesterday's gone. You can't change it, right? Tomorrow's not here yet, but today is in your lap. So focus on today, focus on now, focus on the here, the things you can do something about, and don't waste your energy on things that you cannot change.
So you mentioned some of your favorite groups to talk in front of are schools. What are some of the other kind of groups that you have really enjoyed, getting out in front of that maybe, without this you never would have done?
Well, the one group that's ended up being a really impactful and really fun actually is on the job safety. I hadn't thought about even doing that, but because I was riding snowmobiles at a pro level, and because we were conditioned, because we had all the right gear, we had all the right stuff, we had thousands of miles. I had 20,000 miles of seat experience in the backcountry, right? So it was like my profession, right? So it was an on the job incident in a way. And so I relate that to the on job safety to saying, hey, um, in fact, I use one of Jim Rohn's quotes. Jim Rohn is one of America's foremost business philosophers. He passed away a few years ago, but he said, in life we all must face one of two pains: the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And he was on to say the difference is discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. And so I asked him the whole time, are you going to face ounces or tons? What if the morning of the avalanche I'd forgotten to turn my avalanche beacon on? Because the beacons, how they located me, how they saved my life. What if we forgot to pack our shovels and probes? And what if the guys in the group had forgotten to turn their beacons on or forgotten to have a beacon with them? And what if we had not prepared, right? And so the answer is a three. Well, now I've got 7 kids, but I had 3 kids, then 3 boys would be without their daddy, so.
Yeah, that's that's a good point. And anything that Jim Rohn's ever said, is kind of
I
gold.
love his
It's
stuff. Yeah.
it's gold. Um,
Then the other audience I do quite a few just hospitals, because any kind of medical conferences, any kind of I even gone to hospitals and just spoken to the staff in different sessions. I've done 3 or 4 or 5 sessions for one hospital, so I can hit all the different levels and shifts and stuff. But I take the perspective I had from 88 straight days. And well, if you calculate everything with all the surgeries, it's over 100 days and nights behind the walls of a hospital, right? So having to have that 100 days in a hospital bed, I bring a perspective that nobody else can bring. And so I tell them what it felt like to be one of their patients, what it felt like when they did say something or didn't say something, or how it felt when their attitude was bad. And so I'm able to really inspire them to ignite their passion and to do their job because they love it, not because they're trying to get a paycheck. So
that's interesting. Yeah, I really like. I wouldn't have thought about that, but that that makes a lot of sense. So
no, it's actually I didn't think about it either, but once I did it, I was like, man, this makes perfect sense. This is great, and I really connect with them because I especially because most of the people I'm speaking to are actually nurses. It's kind of funny now. My wife, I wasn't married at the time of the avalanche. My wife today, though, is as a registered nurse. She's an ICU nurse of all things. So I have my own very own ICU nurse now. But but the perspective, the nurses are the ones that do most of the work, right? The nurses are the ones that I connect with the most when I'm in the hospital, and so I'm really able to speak to them, and I can relate to them because I watched what they did every single day for 100 days, So
yeah, no, absolutely. You have your very own nurse. I'm sorry, that made me chuckle. Um, what do you want to end on? Is there any advice that you would give everybody out there? Anything that I missed or failed to ask that, really hits home?
I think we kind of touched on it, but just the fact that I want to encourage people that adversity is not an option. It's a fact of life. Everybody at some point is going to face adversity because the definition of adversity, whether it's in business world or personal life, is the stress, affliction, hardship, an unfortunate event or incident. So based upon that definition, every human being at some point is going to face distress, affliction, hardship, an unfortunate event or incident, right? So we're all going to face adversity. So the only question is, when I face it, will I embrace it and learn from it and get better, or am I going to whine about it and get bitter? And so, am I going to allow it to develop me and change me, or allow it to wreck me? And I think the choice you make in the midst of that adversity is going to affect the outcome of the problem, and therefore, over and over and over again in the course of our life. So just know that everybody faces adversity. Your response to it is what really matters.
I really like that. Get better, get better. Those are your choices, right?
You don't have to. There's only you can't really pick neutral, right?
Yeah.
You're either going to gravitate towards bitter or gravitate towards better, what you choose. So,
I like that. That's great advice. So, how can people get a hold of you? Where can they find you or hear more from you?
well, the best thing is just to go to my website, liferadicallychanged.com. And then there's Life Radically Changed on Facebook as well. And I have a professional profile as well, Matt Potratz. Then connect on there. I'll friend you up if you can friend with me on there. And you can look on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm all over the social media network. But best thing, honestly, just go to my website, liferadicallychanged.com. I just republished this. It's a brand new version of my book. I just added a subtitle to it. It's called Two Hands, A Life Radically Changed in 12 Seconds, because I don't have 2 hands. So I live without 2 hands today. And so it's that perspective. You got 2 hands. What are you going to do with them, right? And so my book is on there in audio form. I narrated the entire thing myself. It's all professional studio quality. It's brilliant. It turned out really good. Added some music to it because my boys in my coma sang a song to me when I was in my coma. And so that very song, the studio version of that song is in the audiobook as well. And so that's pretty powerful with it. Then there's paperback, there's hardback. And then there's my blog is on there, and I do a weekly podcast on my Facebook channels called Monday Morning Minutes with Matt. And so you can check that out as well. But just mainly, just like I said, everything pretty much you can connect to everything by going to the website liferadicallychanged.com. So, and my
Perfect.
phone number's on there as far as booking events. I have an event planner. Of course, you'll call her, but man, I would love to get to your school, your church, your business conference and speak and inspire and encourage. So
Perfect. I'll absolutely put that in the description so they don't even have to just click it. It's going to be right
yep,
there. So
yep.
we'll make it as easy as possible. If anybody would like to get a hold of Matt, absolutely do it. He's super inspirational. You're going to learn something for sure. You're going to have some good takeaways you're going to be able to utilize today. So absolutely do that. If you're a little bit more shy and you prefer an introduction, just ask me. I'm more than happy to make that introduction for you as well. But otherwise, if anybody would like to find more about me as well, I'll have my links in the description or at ikag.me. You can find episodes, subscribe to the newsletter, and connect with our growing community. If somebody out there would like to be interviewed or know somebody that would, you can also apply on the website to be a guest. But Matt, I thank you so much for coming on, taking the time and having this conversation with us. Uh, it's awesome. You're doing amazing things, and like I said, the fact that you're just as motivated and as positive as you are, I think a lot of us could learn from that because we all have bad days, and better or bitter. I like it. It's perfect. So I hope you have an awesome day. Let's all get out there and grow our circle.